Good morning. We'll call this morning's meeting of the Clay County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, November 4th. Our first item is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bear, second by Commissioner Ebinger. Any further discussion on the motion? Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Next, we have an employee recognition. All right, we have David Oxendahl from the Sheriff's Office, 15 years, and I take it David can't be here this morning? All right, so I'll give you this plaque to give to him. All right, and if you care to say a few words?
Sure, yep. So David's been with us for 15 years as a variable hour employee, which means he just works part-time. That's why he can't be here today. He has another full-time job. But in that 15 years, it's somewhat demanding on him because he has to also do his full-time position and keep up on post-mandated training, which is a lot for us nowadays. So he's been able to manage that quite well over the past 15 years, get all his training in, and still assist with helping with shifts here in the courthouse and also at ROLOG. So we've been very thankful that he's stayed with us for that amount of time, and we're hoping maybe for another 15 years, but I know it's pretty demanding on him at this particular point. So thank you.
We'll tell him congratulations from all of us.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. In our consent agenda, we did have a sizable contribution from Minnesota Western Steam Threshers Union that went to the Clay County Sheriff's Work Crew in the amount of $1,200. And we just want to say thank you to Western Minnesota Steam Threshers for that contribution. All right, do we have any citizens to be heard on items not on the agenda? Any citizens to be heard? There are none in the audience. Any online?
None online, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. We'll move in then to the payment of bills and vouchers.
For a motion to approve the payment of bills and vouchers.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mojo, second by Commissioner Krabenhoft. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Approval of minutes from October 21st.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 21st, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Bear, second by Commissioner Ebinger. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. And motion carried. All right, our 8:35 item is information presentation regarding the federal shutdown and impacts to SNAP, MFIP, WIC programs. Good morning, Quinn.
Morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I have Sue Olson with me from Public Health. She's going to jump in. We kind of combined our information into one presentation for you this morning. So just wanted to provide an update from the last time that I was here to speak to the federal shutdown and kind of what those impacts are for our residents of Clay County. As of today, the federal government shutdown remains in effect. However, last Friday, the 31st, a federal court ordered the USDA to use its contingency fund to resume SNAP benefits across the country. The USDA was required to report to the court yesterday to identify how much funding is available and how it will be distributed to the states. In the USDA's response, it confirmed it will release the full $4.65 billion in contingency funding remaining to help sustain SNAP benefits nationwide in November. However, the agency also clarified that this amount will cover only about half of the monthly allotment of SNAP benefits nationwide. And it will take several weeks for states to receive and process those partial payments. The USDA's report to the court also confirmed that no additional funding sources will be used other than the contingency fund, and that anyone that is a new SNAP enrollee certified in November will likely not receive those funds, just people that have already been on SNAP prior to November 1st. As of now, like I said, those funds have not been released, so Minnesota is still waiting for authorization before funding can go out for SNAP. In the meantime, we continue to process new applications for SNAP and for MFIP so that cases can be ready immediately once the federal authorization is given. Minnesota's been proactive in preparing our MAXIS systems for a quick turnaround time so that families can get their benefits immediately once we get the federal authorization. I want to clarify one thing for the public. We get this question almost every single day. Existing balances on EBT cards can be used now. No funds were taken from the cards. If you had a balance on there effective November 1st, it's still okay to use. USDA also confirmed that approved retailers, so the vendors out there, they will remain active. They do not intend to deauthorize any of the stores that accept EBT, so we shouldn't see any service loss from where folks use their EBT cards, at least with the information that we have right now. To go along with that, court order around the contingency fund, Minnesota is one of 26 states participating in another federal lawsuit arguing that SNAP is an entitlement program and the USDA has a legal obligation to continue providing benefits during the shutdown. This legal action combined with that contingency fund order gives me, I'm going to say, cautious optimism that families should receive partial funding for sure in November. We just don't know when yet. There's also been a development in the MFIP program since the last time I came and spoke with you. The MFIP program is a combination of state and federal funds together. Initially, they were saying that all MFIP funds would be paused because there was no way to kind of unmingle the state and federal funds. The state of Minnesota has since fixed that. So it's the cash and food portions of the benefit that are combined into one payment. They've now separated them. So the food portion of the MFIP is kind of on pause, just like the federal SNAP program. However, the cash assistance component of MFIP will go out as normal in November. That's a good thing. A lot of folks use that for rent, mortgage, utilities, basic needs. So that is a clarification that we received since the last time that I was here. Another thing that's on our radar, unfortunately, is increased scam activity targeting SNAP recipients. This is posted on our website as well, but I wanted to get the word out there. It's been reported across Minnesota, and some counties have had residents lose their SNAP benefits because of these scams. What's happening is people are receiving texts or calls that look official. They're using names like EBT support, MNDHS, EBT help desk. They're asking for card numbers, PIN numbers, personal identifying information, or they'll include a link to a fake website saying they can unlock your card, things of that nature. These are 100% scams designed to steal the card balances. So I want that out in the community. Please do not click on those links. Don't reply to the texts. If you feel like you've shared your information or you think that your benefits were compromised, we have the real EBT customer service line right here, and of course they can call us if they have any questions, and we'll point them in the right direction and help them out. But again, that's on our social media page and on our county website as well. For there, I want to kick it over to Sue to provide an update on the WIC program.
Okay. Hi, thank you for inviting me to come and visit about this. It is something that is very much impacting our families that are coming in and a lot of nervous folks. So just a little recap on what WIC is for those of you who may not know. We're a supplemental food program, and we do provide nutrition education, breastfeeding education, counseling service, and refer to public health and other various programs that can help folks out as they go through their journey with small children and during pregnancy, where we all know is something that there's a lot of extra cost involved at that time in your life. Who do we serve? We serve women during pregnancy and postpartum, if they're breastfeeding through that first year of life, if they are not breastfeeding up until the baby is 6 months. We also serve the infants and then children up until the age of 5. Go ahead. So what we're looking at is for funds right now, the way WIC is funded, we are going back on funds for our fiscal year runs through October 30th. So we're just kind of getting paid for October were our September funds, so we're 1 month back on that. So we were able to manage well through the month of October. And since October, we've had some extra funding that has been allocated, and we had one shift that went through, and it did push our funds to about mid-November that we were able to supply funding for foods, and also just to keep the services going. And like Quinn had said, it's very fluid. Just last night, we learned from the National WIC Association that another $450 million was just allocated to WIC again and will be dispersed in the next couple of days. Estimated about 3 weeks of funding, but it's really contingent on what happens with SNAP and other things, whether people will utilize their benefits more. We hope that people don't try to get their benefits early in the month thinking that they may not have them in the end of the month, because that'll actually shorten the life of how long we can keep, providing those funds for folks. So that is one thing that we're trying to be super careful on how we're talking to people, that we're not putting that fear in them that the food's not going to be there, because we're worried that people may, buy too soon, especially with formula, and then we kind of go down that road too. So trying to keep that out of just that it's going to be there, and we're hopefully that they'll just kind of keep pushing it along, which it kind of sounds like we're seeing a little bit more of that. So I have this slide here. This just kind of I wanted to show you where Clay County is at. You can see we're pretty steady. We've, over the last year, been about 1,500 that we serve as far as clients. Of those clients, 62% are children, 18% infants, so about 80% of them are for our children and infants, and 20% of them are women, either postpartum, pregnant, or breastfeeding. So you can see kind of it's a very vulnerable community that we're serving right now, and this makes such a big difference for them. As far as participant, if you want to flip the slide. So what does WIC do? We do find, we have a proven track record. WIC has been here for 50 plus years. We just had our 50th anniversary, and we know participation in WIC does improve birth outcomes, lowers infant mortality, promotes child cognitive development, just the likelihood of breastfeeding. And we know that our participants versus those that could be eligible have healthier diets, just having that food source there as well in the education. So we want to keep that going, because that makes a big difference to our families. And if those funds were to be pulled, people wouldn't be receiving those services and referrals to programs such as any social services or any public health programs that can help with their health of their child. And if you want to just, thank you. So what could this mean? Is going to put, if this prolongs our funding were, if we were not able to fund it, it would mean a loss of access to a lot of critical WIC services for many of our families, leading to negative health outcomes for newborn and young children. So I guess what we're trying to get, WIC has been holding weekly calls now for our state staff, administrators, and just kind of it's flowing. So we learn new things all the time. So every Wednesday, and we'll find out tomorrow basically how they're going to appropriate that extra $450 million that they did appropriate across the board, and what that'll mean for the the length of time. It's kind of a guesstimate, the way that things are cycling and people are using their benefits prior to when SNAP wasn't going, that it would be maybe into the first week of December, that we would be having enough funds to continue. Kind of sounds like they are thinking that they're going to kind of get a push forward, though of small amounts, which of course isn't an answer. And it leaves us kind of sitting like with, well, what can we do and how do we go forward with this? So it's very trying on not only clients but our staff, and that it's been an interesting ride here. I also wanted to, what goes out to our clients on this is they have a WIC app and they are getting notifications pushed, and we're encouraging families to keep their notifications on their phone and to watch them. Just, you know, keep their appointments, keep shopping. If they're having any questions, you know, to call our local agencies, and then just watch that app for any further updates. If, for instance, we had a situation where something happened with the cards and it was just a technical issue, and for about an hour or two, they weren't able to use their card, and a lot of the clients thought that that was due to the shutdown. It had nothing to do with that. It was all a you know, just technology type of thing, but it stoked a lot of fear, and believe me, a lot of phone calls on our end. So all adding to just kind of confusion and things like that. So we're trying to keep families as best we can abreast on what is going on. We too are having some scam issues. I didn't put it in there because it's just something that they've been kind of seeing a little bit. They've been getting, WIC clients have been getting phone calls asking families for personal information like social security numbers. And WIC will never ask for private information to be sent via phone, text, or email. So if families are getting those calls, we know that they are a scam. We ask them not to respond to any of that, not to click on any links, of course, any websites, and then just to call us if they're having some questions. So we've been kind of hearing some of those scams as well.
So with the updates that I provided already, and I believe Commissioner Mojo, you spoke to this at last week's board meeting, but Governor Wallace announced on October 27th a $4 million emergency allocation to help Minnesota food shelves meet the rising demand. This is a one-time emergency fund designed to stabilize local food distribution networks across the state. This funding is going to be distributed through that existing shelf network, not through a new application process, so this isn't something that people have to apply for. Each food shelf and tribal partner is going to receive a base amount of $5,000 and then additional funds based on local need and demands. We have communicated this with our food shelf partners here in Clay County, definitely encouraging them to stay in close contact with the state and their regional partners to ensure allocations and timing of funds. I have informal confirmation that both the Place for Hope and Dorothy Day Food Pantry will receive at least the $5,000 base amount. I don't know exactly what, in addition to that, they may or may not receive as of right now. Also of note, the state fiscal year 26 grant funds that go to food shelves, such as the Minnesota Food Shelf Program and the Regional Food Banks Grants Program, will be distributed early, hopefully in the next few days to weeks, to kind of help offset some of those increased costs. What's still unclear about this is that we do not have a published list of allocations by food shelf or by region yet. State hasn't released a formula or weighted method for how they're going to calculate what that local need is. I'm just kind of unclear of what that is. And there's still clarification pending on whether, if future rounds of funds are allocated, if that will require an application or any sort of grant reporting of that nature. Our role right now is largely about coordination and communication. We're continuing to monitor this daily, like Sue said. Seems like even as of about 10 o'clock last night, there was additional information that came from the courts on some of this. So we're monitoring it every single day, updating our website and our Facebook page with that information as well. The teams at DCYF are preparing those technical updates in our software and in our systems to be able to distribute the funds as we get them. And our teams are ready to go, ready to support residents as soon as we get that authorization and funding so we can distribute those funds to our residents. I wanted to put this out there. It is on our county website and our county Facebook page, but the Help Me Connect website is a wonderful tool and resource for Clay County residents to find different accesses to support and basic needs, food shelves, food distribution sites, et cetera. With that, I'd yield for any questions that any of you have.
So Quinn, the, on the EBT cards, for example, does Clay County upload the dollars to those cards?
Through the Maxis system. Yeah.
Okay.
It's state-run, county administered, but the funds come from the federal government.
Yeah, and then Sue mentioned that there's a way for WIC people to get information online or be part of notifications. Is there a way for somebody who has these EBT cards to find out what balance is available on the card?
They can call us. I don't believe we have a fancy app. That's a great idea, but we don't have one for SNAP.
Yeah, I was just wondering if somebody's sitting there and they're zero right now, and I thought it might be good if they had an opportunity to just be able to. You're going to get a lot of calls.
We sure are. Yep. Please call us. Please tell the community to call us. That's
I was
the message I
just
wanna send.
wondering if there wasn't some improved form of checking on a balance other than having to have your staff take call after call after call.
No.
Okay. Well, that's the way they'll do it then. Okay. I think Commissioner Mojo was first.
I noticed yesterday there was an announcement from the Trump administration on funding 50% of that piece. I know there's still a conversation on what exactly that means and where that money is, but I think that's a helpful development, hopefully, in the interim. Both of you, I just want to extend gratitude. I know it's a time where it's really challenging to communicate with clients that may be facing some severe hardship, and I know that is a burden that staff feels as well. So just know that we appreciate the work that you all are doing, and I know it's just a really difficult time for folks, so thank you for that. A conversation at one of the district meetings I was at in Washington County yesterday came up about donation of frozen food to any food pantries. For instance, hunters that may have a deep freeze with excess venison frozen from last year. Likewise, do we know if any of our Clay County food pantries are accepting frozen meat?
I believe A Place for Hope is. I was on a kind of an urgent community stakeholder call on Friday. Daryl from A Place for Hope was a part of that call. He indicated he's open to donations as they can get them. I know they've got a couple big, large, kind of walk-in deep freezers. Last time I was physically there, they were pretty full, but I think at this point in time, it's going to go as fast as it can be donated. So kind of another message that I'd love to get out there is if you can donate food or funds, please do so. And I know that they're always looking for volunteers at all of the food distribution sites.
And then a final comment, if I might. One is the utilization of the CAP LP rural transportation bus that currently is funded right now, but in a time where there might be some food insecurity to our seniors throughout rural Clay County, wanting to make sure that we're utilizing that tool as we can to get that news out there for folks.
Great resource, yeah.
Thanks.
Commissioner Ebinger.
Yeah, Quinn, my understanding, if somebody wants to apply for these benefits, they can apply, but they'll stay in the county and won't go up to state?
Correct, yep, they stay at the county level. It's how the caseloads work is county specific, county of residency.
I'm not aware of how many people a month either withdraw or lose their benefits, but if that is occurring, is there a way to where we can make sure that the limited funds we have aren't distributed to people who are either no longer need them or no longer present to use them? Is there a way for us to keep current with the people who are coming off of these benefits?
We're still operating completely as normal. So as we get information that people lose eligibility within Clay County, we're continuing to process that. If they move to a different county, if they move out of state, we'll still process that on our end. So
We have the control to make that happen.
yep,
Very
that's
good.
still the day-to-day functions that our eligibility workers are keeping up on.
Great, thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? Yeah. All right, thank you, Quinn. Thank you.
I just want to say one more thing. At one of our last meetings, some of the different counties had some Oh, sorry. Some of the different counties had some formula that people are doing for donations, and they were trying to go through a local WIC program, which we can't do that. So just kind of if people are looking to donate some of that thing through the food pantries, we just want to remember Birthright is in our building.
Yep.
And they do help out a lot of folks. I mean, WIC is supplemental. We don't provide all their formula. So they do have to look elsewhere. Oftentimes they use their SNAP for that. Especially I've heard from a couple of families that are on very special, very expensive formulas that they're not sure how they're going to work around that. We are trying to work with our folks that are on very expensive formulas and things. They're medically prescribed to them. We're working with medical assistants to see if they can pick up some of that. Therefore, moving some of those formulas over to them, taking them off WIC to extend that dollar amount because they're very expensive. So back on the back end of the state, they're trying to do a lot of those things to help that funding spread a little further. So those are some things that the state is really working hard on, finding any way that we can keep those funds moving another week, another day at this point.
Let's hope this shutdown just ends soon and we can.
They vote in 4 minutes.
Any guesses? Thank you, Quinn and Sue.
Hope.
All right, our next item is a request approval for resolutions 2025-30 and 2025-31 to support petitions for Buffalo Red River Watershed District to utilize taxing authority. Christine, good morning.
Morning.
You got some of your board members here. Bill and Jerry, good morning.
Good to see you. Welcome back.
Well, good morning. Thank you for coming and letting us talk to you today about our petitions for some taxing authority. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Christine Gaden. I'm the administrator of the Buffalo Red River Watershed District. And then we have Bill Davis and Jerry Van Amberg, who are some of our Clay County appointed board members. So we're here today for your consideration in approving 2 petitions for the Buffalo Red River Watershed District to utilize taxing authority under Minnesota Watershed Law 103D 905. This statute grants taxing authority to watershed districts for basic water management activities if petitioned for by a political subdivision. And we come to Clay County because the residents of Clay County make up about 70% of the district's tax base based on the taxable market value. And so in 2026, the Buffalo Red River Watershed District is requesting the Clay County Board to consider 2 petitions. One is for an assessment in the amount of $550,000. And these funds will be used for contributions for the 4 soil and water conservation partners within the district for their conservation marketing, their soil health practices, and technical assistance, as well as education and outreach and watershed-wide programs and activities like the stream gauging program, our water quality monitoring, permitting, and then kind of general investigations if landowners have water-related concerns. The second petition is in the amount of $700,000, and these will contribute to project design and construction for projects such as Whiskey Creek and South Tributary, which is in Barnesville Township, the South Branch of the Buffalo River Restoration, and the Lower Otter Tail River Restoration. They'll also be used as leverage for state and federal grants. And so one of the things that we always bring to you with these requests is what this means for the property owners and what that means for their tax assessments. And so with these 2 assessments and our other general assessments, it's approximately $12.71 for per $100,000 in property value. And if you look at our comparison sheet that we sent you, that's quite a bit lower than what it's been in the past. And a lot of that has to do with we've been successful at getting different grants, and so there's just less local need for supporting like the project construction and design. And so with that, I kind of want to thank you for your time, and if there's any questions, we're happy to answer them.
So if I'm doing my math correctly, Christine, I think the total that you're asking for this year is 1,250,000 compared to 1,595,000 last year. Is that?
Yep, that's
Getting that
correct.
right?
Yep.
All right.
I have one question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Bear.
For that $700,000 that you're asking for design on projects, don't those, when you design a project, doesn't that go back to that project itself and build to that project?
It does. So this just covers a portion of it. So if it's just some of the local support, and the thought behind it is that we do these projects all over the district. So, we did one in Glendon a couple years ago. So, the whole watershed wide supported that project. And, now when we work on the lower Otter Tail, the whole watershed supports those efforts. But it's just a portion of it. Otherwise, it comes from, like you said, the landowners that live
On that project?
on that project, and then also the state and federal grants as well.
So the 700 basically reduces everybody's share within that project.
That's correct.
Yes.
What percentage do you normally lower that share for?
I don't know that we've ever done it based on like a percentage. I think it's kind of based on kind of the need. Like the Glendon project, just the way the bids came in was more expensive. And then just based on like the project area was smaller. So there was probably a greater percentage contributed to that project versus some of our other projects that have more widespread, or it's a larger project area, so there's more local funds available. And then some of the other projects also had more grant funds, so it just kind of depends on the project. I don't know if there's any like calculation, yeah.
And I'm reading off of this.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it's a
Here,
little
just
small too.
questions where I was trying to follow this last night when I was reading through this. So the Management Fund 1 and 2 is what these things cover. So where do you get your funds for your administrative and your insurance? Is that through grants, or how are you obtaining those funds?
So that's a separate level of assessment that is also watershed-wide. We just don't have to ask for a petition
Okay,
for
so
it.
that's outside of this taxing authority.
Yes, yeah, but that's why I include it in that $12.71, because it's all the same
Okay.
funding that's coming through.
So those you don't need approval on, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Can I ask what percentage did that go up this year?
For the administrative, and so that's on here too. So the
down.
administrative actually went down, let's see, like $70,000. And then, so one of the things is every 5 years, we're allowed to assess for survey and data acquisition. So that's like if a landowner has a concern, we can use those funds to kind of investigate what's happening. And so that's also why the basic water management 1 and 2 went down, is that we kind of supplement it with that increase, because this was a year that we were able to assess that. So we kind of work with that as well.
All right, any other questions? All right, we're looking for a motion to approve resolution 2025-30.
I'll make a motion to approve resolutions 2025-30 and 2025.
Hey, we gotta do them separate.
Oh, okay, 25-30.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Krabnoff, second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion?
Just one comment, it is lower than last year's, so that's always a plus sign.
It is. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. That carried unanimously.
Mr. Chair, I'll offer a motion of support for Resolution 2025-31.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Mojo, second by Commissioner Ebinger. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Again, that motion carries unanimously. All right, anything else? Jerry, how are you doing? Anything else for us today?
Not for me.
Okay, all right. Any words of wisdom? Huh?
Your input?
Well, thank you for your service in the watershed. Bill, anything?
Other than you guys are looking great today, and thank you for your service.
You should have said that before we took the vote. Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment, we have 3 great individuals that are serving on this board that we've appointed. And I know you take a lot of late night phone calls, and I've been on farm sites with all of you. So thank you for being so willing to address the concerns of the public and serving in this capacity. There's a saying about water and what versus whiskey, which one is worth fighting over, and most of the time it becomes water. So I know that it's hot button contention, but for the most part, you do such a great job of addressing those needs throughout the community. Thank you.
We heard a lot about population going down and concern about that. And I just wanted to let you know that our watershed is doing its part to keep this population up, because she is a new mother, and
Good.
Matt is a new father that's also our employee.
All right.
We've added to the
Yes.
to the district.
All right.
Congrats.
Well, fortunately, Clay County is a growing county, so. And thank you for adding to that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the overview of employment services provided by rural Minnesota SEP.
Morning, Mr.
Ben, you were
Chair and
going to start
Commissioners.
this off for us this morning?
I sure am. So a few weeks back, this board approved our MFIP biennial service agreement, outlining the county's local plan for the MFIP program. Strategies, performance outcomes, helping program participants achieve employment. The day-to-day work of guiding participants towards those outcomes through career planning, job search assistance, and barrier reduction is carried out through our partnership with rural Minnesota SEP. SEP is our contracted provider that delivers employment and training services for folks on MFIP and the diversionary work program. These services are designed to help individuals and families develop skills, obtain employment, and achieve greater self-sufficiency. So the SEP team is here to give a brief overview to you all on the specific work that they do with their clients.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'll start out. My name is David Smith. I'm the Program Administrative Manager for rural Minnesota SEP. I oversee the 19 counties and the 8 teams that operate within. But just to give you a little idea of what we are a private nonprofit partner in Minnesota's workforce system. Like I stated, we serve 19 counties across 20,000 square miles with over 33,000 annual visits to our 8 offices, including the Alexandria, Bemidji, Brainerd, Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, Little Falls, Moorhead, and Wadena. And we support over 4,000 individuals annually in achieving employment and self-sufficiency.
Good morning, my name is Bill Burnside. Again, good morning, my name is Bill Burnside. I'm the team leader for the rural Minnesota SEP office in Moorhead. We have 12 of us in the office, and we serve a lot of people. I just kind of wanted to go over the process that's involved with the MFIP program. The county deems people eligible, so they do the financial work and make sure that the folks are eligible for the program. If they are found to be eligible, there's really 2 parts to it. There's the financial part, the cash, the food assistance and the housing assistance, and then there's the employment and training portion of MFIP. And that's what we do at rural Minnesota SEP, is the employment and training portion. So the clients are referred to us. They're assigned a job counselor. We have 7 MFIP job counselors here in Moorhead. I'm one of them. I have a small client caseload. The other 6 have roughly 70 clients per person, so there's a large caseload. Once they're assigned, they are given an orientation date. They come to our office. We orient them to what we expect from them and what they can expect from us. through the program. And after that's done, they will sit down with their individual job counselor and just have a meeting to develop an employment plan. And the client kind of goes over their life situation. Between the two of them, they'll identify the barriers in their life that is keeping them from being, employed at a rate where they don't need to be on services. Once the barriers are identified, the employment plan is created. It's signed by both the client and the job counselor. It's kind of a contract as to here's what we're going to do to move you forward. The client and the job counselor meet on a periodic basis to track progress. There are several different categories. Most folks are just in a job search, and it is their job to search for a job, and we require them to search 35 hours a week generally. In the Fargo-Moorhead area, if you're job searching for 35 hours a week, you can get a job pretty quickly, and we can help move you forward. The biggest part of it is to identify those barriers. What is it? You have to have a real conversation with people to find out exactly what's going on. We try to point those things out and have them really work on those things, and generally folks do pretty well. Some of the services that we offer to our clients, we can do on-the-job training. Our entity, Rural Minnesota SEP, will help with onboarding costs. If you're a client of ours, we have several companies that we work with out in the county, or in the county, but also in Fargo. We will place someone at a business and help with the onboarding costs, and hopefully that person will become a full-time employee. That's one of the services we can offer. For people who don't really have a work history, for whatever reason, they don't have a work history, they have nothing to put on their resume, we also work with businesses who will take folks that we're working with and work with them, put them on their schedule, and they're volunteers for the company. We actually pay them. They're our employees. We pay them $12.25 an hour. We don't want them to think it's a full-time job, but it helps them learn how to show up on time, how to deal with a boss, how to deal with coworkers, maybe a little stress every once in a while, and just get them into that working mindset. We have incumbent worker training. We have funds available to help current businesses upskill their employees. We've worked with Crystal Sugar, helped them with their maintenance department. We upskilled some of those folks. We worked with Pactiv. We've worked with Alderon and Hawley. They're expanding, and we help them with that. And then just career support. We help people write resumes. We have people come into our office every day and say, I'm job searching, and it's just not working. So we'll look at their resume, help them to kind of make it the way it needs to be. Some people have 10-page resumes, and we like them to be a one-page resume. So help them with that. Coaching, we can give them labor market information. We have employer connections. We understand who's hiring, who's looking for folks, things like that out in the community. We can help with some of the funds that we have to help folks attain a CDL, CNA, just some real short-term things. It's pretty amazing once you have a CDL, how quickly you can get hired and make too much money to be on services. So we have what are called support services. Some of the barriers that I talked about, maybe somebody's car doesn't work. It's not running. We can help. We work with local businesses in the community, and we can help fix their car, get them tires, get them brakes, things like that. Some people, maybe they don't have insurance. They just need that little jump start to get going. We can support them for a couple weeks until they start getting paychecks. That's kind of one of the biggest ones is, you know, we can help them with reinstatement fees for their license. We can help them with license fees. We can help them with tabs, things like that. Like I said, we meet with our clients periodically. Some we meet weekly, some we meet monthly, but we do track what they're doing. That's part of what we're required to do. And so there's an assessment and tracking portion. And then working with our community partners, CAP-LP, Voc Rehab, I mean, we collaborate with those folks. So do you have any questions about the process or what we actually do?
Commissioner Kravinoff.
Yeah, just a quick question. What age does this start at?
We work with, so you have to have a child under the age of 18 in your home. We work with people who are 18 and over.
Okay.
I believe the Child Protective Services work with younger folks with children, so.
Just curious.
Commissioner Abinger.
What's the most prominent, probably couple of obstacles that people have to employment here?
Like I said, it's maybe you've had your license taken away, you can't drive. If we can get you a reinstate, we can't pay your fines, but we can pay a reinstatement fee, we can pay tabs, we can pay insurance. You know, it's a team-based decision. The job counselor brings it to the team, and it's either a yes or a no. But the biggest obstacle, I think, is driving vehicle. The second biggest would be childcare. I have 3 little kids at home. I can't job search. Well, you have to job search because you need to support those 3 little kids. The county helps with childcare, but what we do is put that in their plan then, search for childcare and get childcare. I mean, and we put them on a time frame. You need to have childcare within, 45 days. Then we'll take the next step, so.
Thank you.
Follow-up question to that. What if they don't find childcare in 45? If you give them steps and they're not following through those steps?
So if they don't follow the process, we have what's called a notice of intent to sanction. If they're not doing what they're supposed to do, we send them a letter saying in 10 days, there's going to be some action taken. So you have 10 days to contact your job counselor and work towards fixing the problem. If they don't fix the problem, we send a status update down to the county financial workers, and they start losing part of their grant. At some point, their case will close if they're just not doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they're actually given seven times before they're actually, we call them sanctioned off, and it's basically 7 mistakes throughout the whole tenure of their 5 years. So, but I just want to piggyback off of your question a little bit. I think one of the biggest ones right now is the mental health, and I think what helps us is us being able to get them on a plan. Everybody that comes in has to have a plan, and we get them on this plan, and it may just be doctor visits at first, and that's what we do is we hold them accountable to going to the doctor, to seeing their physician, to seeing that psychiatrist. And that's probably one of our biggest growing, I feel it's one of our growing ones, but it's also the ones where, you know what, we can hold them accountable. So that's what I feel like we do for a lot that just think that they're just gonna ride this out. No, you gotta do some stuff, so.
Yes, Commissioner Bear.
What percentage actually get through the program in 5 years, or do they get off the program earlier with full employment and?
Well, our goal ultimately is to get them off in 3 years. It's one of the things I'll talk about is the self-support index. That's a measurement of anybody that's been on the program, and they start measuring it when they've hit 3 years. So if they're on the program, that's considered a negative. Unless they're on the program working 32 hours or more, depending on their family size. But that's that's our ultimate goal is to get them off early. The quicker the better. We have a high percentage, I think about 80% of our people that come on are off within a year. 85% after 3 years. So that, but we just do not, the self-support index is just a different monster. It's something the state decides. We usually don't find out about the outcome for about 6 months after it's ended, and we're already halfway through a year. So it's really a difficult one, but it also is a kind of a way to measure someone's success.
So how do people learn about you? Is this something that's referred, Quinn, by your departments?
Yeah, so if you're on the MFIP program, you're getting a referral to SEP. It goes hand in hand.
I just, I'm listening to you guys today, I just, whether they might be in some legal issue in the past, or whether it's mental health, or maybe even just low self-esteem, I think the idea, I think the general public a lot of times doesn't realize that we do have systems in place to try to get people back into the workforce and become, good members of society and participate with society, and this is one really good way that I see in that being done. And I'm thankful to be able to hear what you're about and doing.
We actually, MFIP is just 50% of what we do. We also work with the WIOA programs, it's the federal programs, and some state dislocated worker programs. But we also do grants, and you talked about those that may have a legal issue. We just completed a grant. It was called our reentry grant. We helped 75 people that had a, and this is throughout our whole SEP, but it's anybody that can come on that has like a legal issue, like they were previously incarcerated. They're having troubles getting jobs because of that. So we help them do that. And that's pretty much out of all of our grants. And that's one of the prerequisites. A lot of them is it's a way for us to enroll them. It's a reason for us to enroll them, but it's also the low income. It's also the BIPOC, we just have a lot. We just got awarded an agricultural grant that allows us to help those that want to get into the egg business, any egg business, whether it becomes a CDL to be able to drive for a farmer, whether it's, going on to the egg schools to, become an agronomist. So we just received that one, so that will be coming to all of our teams as well.
Well, I believe it was Bill, I believe it was you that mentioned too that you work with local businesses and trying to find a place for these things to businesses willing to, for lack of a better term, maybe take a chance on some of these people, right? And, just understanding that there's businesses out there willing to do that, because without those, we get nowhere.
Exactly.
And so, just a hats off to, you didn't mention businesses, and I'm not here to ask you but for those businesses that are out there that are doing that, our community needs to thank them for that. So,
yeah, we work with several businesses, and the only prerequisite we ask is they cannot be hiring at the time, because we don't want to take away somebody that could get a job by us coming in there and doing this. So, but I don't think we've ever come across a business that said they will not participate. And that's a lot with what we do is we ask the client what they may be interested in. And if they say, oh, I love working with lumber, we'll go to the lumber yard and say, hey, would you love to sponsor this person? We'll pay the wages, the, workman's comp. And we very rarely get anybody that'll turn us down for it.
right, yes, Commissioner Kravanaugh.
Yeah, just, so to be in the MFIP program, this is a criteria? Okay,
That's correct.
mandatory?
Yep, mandatory.
Okay. Yeah, and to hear 80%, that's incredible.
All right, anything else?
I'll just go over a little bit on how we do our measurements, and then if you got any, then we'll pretty much, and then a success story from Barbara, who's working with one of our clients. So I had mentioned the self-support index. That's, I believe, on the third page or fourth page. That one there is what the state determines our funds. If we do well in it, we'll get more funds. If we don't do well, they will actually, after 2 years, penalize us by 2.5%. So our goal is to obviously get to the meets. If we get and exceeds, we can also get a bonus. So there's a positive. But as you can see, Clay County in the last 3 years has gone up. We went from 66.21, which is well above the state average. In 2024, we went to 67.39, which is well above the 61.66. And in this previous season, year was 61% to 68% is how we did. So we've been improving every year, which is great to see. But like I had mentioned, we don't find out these results until August, 6 months in already to the new year. So we don't know, okay, how do we do it? So our internal way of figuring this out is through entered employment. The ones that are getting off, are they getting jobs? And that's how we determine our success. And as you can see through July, we're at 45.5%. And we consider and exceeds are doing really well with the MFIP program at 45%. And then successful placements, those are people that get job, but they also may get on Social Security. And that's one of the other services we do offer is anybody that's on our MFIP program when we realize, okay, it's not gonna, right now they're not gonna work. They're not able to work. We will work with them to get on Social Security so they can have that time to get better and then come back on the program or come back and get back into society. And then the DWP program is very similar. It's actually a short-term program. It's meant for 4 months. And we look at that at 52%, and then the average wage when they leave is $17.56. I'm sorry, I skipped the $18.51 is how MFIP finished last year. Our other big measurement we look at is your return on investment. We look at anything over $1.50 per dollar you guys spend or the county spends as success. And this is, and you can see our return on investment is $2.09. And this is strictly taxes that are coming back in, payroll taxes, income, any income tax that is coming back in. That's it. That's all we're measuring. Even though there's more, it's that person also getting a house, paying property tax, keeping their kids in the school around here. That gets us more funds back in. So that's why we consider $1.50, but at $2.09 is huge. That's success for us.
And I think to tie a bow on this, one of the things we really like to do is amplify our success stories. We'll ask someone who's been successful to kind of write up a narrative. There's 2 narratives in here, but I really would like Barbara to talk about one of her clients that is a super duper success story.
Okay. Hi, my name is Barbara, and I'm a job counselor with Rural Minnesota SEP. I've been there almost 24 years. Crazy. Anyway, help train Bill in. I have a client, and she applied for cash assistance from Clay County Social Services. So in order to remain in compliance and keep her grant, she needs to participate with me and have an employment plan. When she first came through the orientation with me, I did an assessment. And this particular client was in a domestic violence situation, and she had 2 children with some disabilities, special needs, okay? She'd been a housewife, she'd been a member of the community. She had no idea what to do. Of course, we addressed the family violence. I work very closely with Rape and Abuse Crisis Center, Community Health Services here, and I met her over there and completed a safety plan to keep her and her family safe. We also got her in touch with some services for her children. And so that was the initial step, first and foremost, safety of the family, okay? Then she was ready to do something else. What next? We do career assessments in our offices. So we put her through a career assessment. What are your interests? What experience do you have? What don't you have? What do you feel you can do? And based on these things, she decided, maybe I should try college. And I said, absolutely, go check out the colleges, see where your interests lie. She did get enrolled at MSUM. And now this has been a process over approximately 3 to 3.5 years, because there's been many steps in between this that she had to do, the divorce and child custody and finding childcare, various other things, bringing children to Mayo Clinic, that sort of thing. But she's persisted amazingly. And she was almost complete with her social work degree at MSUM. And she needed to do an internship. And she said, Barbara, where can I do an internship? I said, anywhere in the county building, would love to have you. Go approach them. Well, Clay County Social Services took her on. The same program that's helping her took her on as an intern. She'll complete her internship in December and graduate with a social work degree. And I have a feeling they may hire her. So it's come full circle. And that's what can happen on this program. It's really fun to see. Now, it's not true of everyone, but this particular starfish, it certainly made a difference to her. And she's been amazing. She's done a lot of hard work, and it hasn't been easy. So that's what I'd like to share with you.
Well, thanks for sharing that. All right. Anything else for us today?
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
for being here. It's all good news. Thank you. All right, next we have a request for approval replace budgeted child protection caseworker.
Sorry, you got to see me a lot today.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here requesting a motion to fill a vacant child protection case manager position with backfill. We recently had a vacancy in our child protection case management unit. This position is essential for maintaining compliance with state and federal child protection mandates, ensuring safety, permanency, and well-being for children in Clay County. Case managers, just to refresh your memory, their role is responsible for ensuring child safety, developing case plans, coordinating court-ordered services, and ensuring that families receive support and interventions necessary to achieve safety and stability. This work has pretty large legal, ethical, public safety responsibilities with mandated timelines for contacts, documentation, and court filings. One thing I'd like to highlight right now is that our case management division is currently under pretty substantial workload pressure. Over the past few months, we've onboarded 3 new case managers, still in the onboarding and training phase, which kind of limits their ability to carry a full caseload. Additionally, we have 1 case manager out on FMLA, with those cases temporarily redistributed to other case managers. So we're operating at about 60% capacity right now. Due to that, we have kind of that additional strain on our remaining experienced case managers, which I have the concern that that'll increase the risk of burnout for them, turnover, or potential delays in meeting those court-ordered timelines. So ultimately, choosing to not refill this position would have pretty significant impacts on child and family safety, negative impacts on out-of-home placements, and negative impacts on the reunification process. Also of note, consistently large and unmanageable caseloads may expose social services to legal liability and reduce the quality and timeliness of interventions provided to the vulnerable families that we serve. We want to highlight that this request was brought through PIC and recommended to bring to the board for full approval. When it comes to budget impacts, this is a fully budgeted position. Based on the 2025 wage calculator, refilling it is projected to result in approximately $10,162 in savings compared to the previous staff's wage and benefits. With that, I would yield for any questions.
Questions?
I have a question. How many child protection case managers are in this group?
14 when we're fully staffed.
And you're short one right now?
Short one.
One gone on FMLA?
Yep.
Is there any way that this position could be filled January 1?
As much as I would like to say yes to that, I know that it would have pretty significant impacts on the work that we do.
Those are my two questions.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to move to fill the vacant child protection case manager position with backfill.
A second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebinger, second by Commissioner Kravinoff. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Mojo.
my question is what, I noticed on the memo it was brought to pick, what was the approved action or motion?
The recommendation was to approve the request.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. Request approval to replace budgeted eligibility worker position.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, we have an eligibility worker position also vacant on our adult team within financial services. This position is essential to administering the SNAP program, related financial assistance programs that you heard kind of Sep talk about a little bit. Our eligibility workers ensure the timely access to food and cash benefits for our low-income residents, supporting that food security and economic stability across the county. The timing on this position is also critical. As I've been informing this board, the One Big Beautiful Bill has introduced these sweeping SNAP changes, including the expanded work requirements, which are going to add that administrative complexity to the workload. The oversight responsibilities will also increase for our eligibility workers as a result of this new legislation. Maintaining our staffing levels is vital to ensure the timely eligibility determination, prevent the backlogs, and uphold our strong record of SNAP accuracy, as the SNAP error rates are on my radar. Leaving this position vacant would slow that service delivery. It would increase our risk for those SNAP errors and potentially expose us to those fiscal penalties or compliance concerns. So this request is for one replacement. However, the future staffing needs in financial services is expected to grow, not decline. So I'm really hoping that this board will take that into consideration for filling this, as that's kind of what I'm anticipating our needs will be in the future. This position was also brought before PIC with a recommendation to bring to the full board for consideration. This is a very long-term tenured staff that is leaving the county. As a result of that, there will be a little bit of a payout in 2025, but in 2026's budget, there should be $29,000 approximately in annual savings by replacing this position at step one, which is what we anticipate. So with that, I am requesting a motion to fill the vacant eligibility worker position with backfill.
I do want to point out again that this was reviewed by PIC, and the recommendation is to do it. And I just do want to comment on the your narrative there where it talks about that this is expected to grow, and unfortunately I hate to hear that. But in terms of future additions, when we look at where we're at, struggling with 2026, and then we're projected having even a tougher time in 2027, I think I'm supporting this request to try to offset having to have it even grow larger. So, Commissioner Majo.
Thank you. So is this all levy funds that go to support this? There's no federal or state?
We do get 50% FFP with it.
Okay. So part of, as I'm discerning this, because the community's heard what we're talking about and how we reduce levy pressures and what makes the most sense to be as fiscally wise as possible for next year. One of the biggest issues for Clay County will be SNAP error rates.
Correct.
As we've been at the Capitol and talking about components and updating to systems and all of those pieces, that SNAP error rate really will determine what Clay County going forward will need to pay for that. I think there's maybe a miscommunication at the state about what Clay County's error rate is really. We are historically low if you look across the state. And as we continue to advocate for making sure that our reimbursement rate is based on what our local error rate is, we need to have the tools available to continue to keep that rate as low as possible, because that will allow us to see dividend savings in the future. You know, because of that, this really does make the most sense to continue to support it from my perspective. There's areas where we can cut corners, and I don't believe that this is one where we will see savings that offset it in the future if we don't.
Yes, Commissioner Bear.
Same two questions as before. How many are in this position?
Okay, on the family team specifically, we have, I believe, 8 or 9.
And could you get by without filling this position till January 1?
Again, I want to say yes, I want to tell you yes, but the reality is no. It would cause a pretty significant strain on our staff.
Thank you.
Commissioner Krabb.
Yeah, I just want to comment that my thoughts were going toward the error rates also. I concur with Commissioner Mojo and strongly support it.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, that's, you know, to your point, I don't want to ask more for the levy either in 2027. My kind of letting the board know that that's what's on my radar for 2027 isn't selfishly to add staff. It is exactly what Commissioner Mojo said.
Right.
My fear is that if we don't stay on top of the error rates, we'll have a fiscal penalty that is much, much greater than the cost of another eligibility worker. So it is kind of taken in that whole perspective of saying it would be better to spend a smaller amount of levy funds to onboard a staff than have potentially, I mean, we don't know how the error rates are going to trickle down to counties yet, but in some of those projections, it could have been upwards of $1.5 million.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Mojo.
Thank you. Because of the savings you've indicated, though, there will be a reduction to what your preliminary approved levy will be. So we'll see that adjustment in our overall, correct?
For 2026's budget, this will
Right.
save 29.
So this action, by filling it, will see a reduction in what our overall preliminary levy will be.
Well, to add to that, I don't know if, I have maybe non-public information that we're going to lose a slight amount of licensing revenue that might offset that to net zero. So I don't want to tell you we're going to save that when it's
Fair.
not public information yet, but we might lose
That's
a
fair.
little bit of
There's
licensing
a
revenue.
lot
of moving parts.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, we'll be able to narrow that down by the time we do our final.
Yep.
All right. Commissioner Ebinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was approved by PIC, and I think this is one of the things we need to set our sights on is there are a lot of things we are out of control within the county that are going to come from the state and federal government, and we have to meet a standard and realistically maintain the high degree of efficiency that we've demonstrated over the years. And to do that, we need to support and give the resources to our departments that they need to meet the standards that they've set. So having said that, I'd like to make a motion to fill the vacant eligibility worker position with backfill.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebinger, a second by Commissioner Krabanoff. Any discussion? I do have a so when we were at our AMC meeting on Friday, we've heard discussions, and it's been presented here too, regarding the whole reporting system and the reporting software that's used and how archaic it is and all that type of stuff. Is that related to the work that these folks do too?
Yes, that's the direct system.
And, you know, so when I talk about 2026 and 2027, maybe we should improve that system. That would alleviate a lot of the internal work that's needed to be done in doing this.
That would improve our efficiencies greatly.
Right, you know, and again, you improve efficiencies and you're reducing demand on all of those people working in that area. So I think it's a perfect example of what we heard about at our AMC conference in really pushing towards getting updated software that allows improvements in efficiency.
That would be fantastic.
All right. Any further discussion? Yes.
On that? No, as we talk about legislative priorities, and certainly what Commissioner Campbell just talked about is probably the number one priority coming out of AMC and probably your organization as well. I don't believe this board has ever taken an official position on that or sending official communication on that. And I really do think sending that to DHS before a session from this entire board is something that we should have on record as we continue to have those dialogues. Because it is, and you can even use the example of federally, how does this all federally work together? And as Minnesota tries to figure out a system, when they keep hearing that's a problem, we need to go more on record.
We just want them to develop a good program, not like what happened in DMV. Because they came out with a new program for DMV and it was a disaster, so.
I think that's what they've found to be, it's so large scale and intricate that it has to do all the things we need it to do, and then it's difficult to just edit the existing system. I think they gotta build one from the
I will call for the vote in just a second here, but going to Commissioner Mojo's comment, Quinn, could you put together for us some sort of a letter that we could pass as a board that would go to DHS or whoever else is we find, and maybe it's something that once we do it, other counties can learn of it. I know we're all together on this in terms of AMC, but individual counties also expressing support is really important. So if you could maybe do that and maybe have that put on to our next agenda, I don't want to put too much on you here, but yes.
And I agree with that, and perhaps through you, or all of us, whether it's on human services policy or with your board, elevate it to the highest level within AMC.
I appreciate that support from you all on that.
All right, so any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Aye. Motion carried. All right, next we have the request approval of productive alternatives.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I have Holly Warner with me here. She's kind of overseeing this grant. So Social Services was awarded the Lead Agency Capacity Building Grant a while back by Minnesota DHS to increase competitive integrated employment opportunities for individuals with disabilities that are receiving home and community-based services in Holly's division. This board approved the releasing of the RFP in September, and as a result of that RFP, Productive Alternatives Incorporated was selected to serve as a contracted provider to employ an employment specialist to help implement the grant's objectives. The services under this contract will include providing outreach and education to our waiver recipients about their employment opportunities and options, conducting engagement with local area businesses to expand disability inclusive hiring practices, support our case managers in informed decision-making and use of new employment tools, and facilitating collaboration between Clay County, the employment providers, and local schools to align efforts with the Minnesota Transformation Initiative. The contract supports the deliverables outlined in our capacity building grant work plan and will help us meet those state-defined milestones tied to the continued funding and eligibility. In terms of timeline, we would upon approval, we would put that contract immediately into effect with the anticipated onboarding of that employment specialist later this month or early December, with the full grant milestones reviewed and evaluated in May of 2025. Contract amount for this time period is $39,580, all of which is funded by the state grant. No additional request for levy dollars for this work. It is anticipated that upon successful onboarding of this employment staff, the work will continue past June. However, we would like to review the goals kind of set forth in the contract in this first time period and bring it back to the board if we would like to see that work continue past June 30th, 2025. I guess with that, I'm requesting a motion to enter into a contract with PAI, but I would yield for any questions that you may have.
Any other questions of Quinn or Holly? Yes, Commissioner.
So this grant runs through June 2026?
Yes.
Yes. And then after that, we'll reevaluate it?
Yes.
At that point, is there another grant we can go after?
This grant can be extended up to an additional 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
All right, so we're looking for a motion to enter into contract with Productive Alternatives.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to enter into the contract with PAI Inc. of Employment Specialists through the Lead Agency Capacity Building Grant.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Bear, second by Commissioner Ebinger. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Quinn.
Thank you so much.
And knowing how I know, no, knowing how I know this board, we're gonna take our quick break now.
Thanks for dealing with me so much this morning. I appreciate it.
All right, we are now back in session. We will move to under number 8 on our agenda. And that is the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency funding and public input process update.
Good morning, I'm Patrick with Public Health, and I'm here to give you an update on the public input process for the Budweiser settlement funding. You may recall that back on June 3rd of this year, Clay County Public Health received a check from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency in the amount of $129,540. We are given exactly 1 year to use that money until June 3rd, 2026. And part of the expectation is that we have a public input process to solicit the public's opinion on how to use the money. And so we've been working on that. And we have 3 scheduled open houses, which I want to invite everyone in this room to and everyone watching online or on television. The first one will be November 13th from noon to 1 at the Moorhead Public Library. The second one will be November 19th from 9 to 10 in the morning at Yemkomst Center. And the third will be November 25th from 4 to 5 p.m. in the evening at Triumph Lutheran Brethren Church. So these 3 open houses are 1 hour long. There will be no formal presentation as part of the open house. It's really just walk in, check out the displays we have, cast your vote, and I will be there to answer questions, and I'm hoping some other folks involved will be there as well. So you can come anytime during that hour and leave whenever you like. There's no formal presentation. The other thing I wanted to point out is that I know you have in your packet both the flyer for the 3 open houses as well as 4 other images, which are the display boards that we're going to have in the room. We have already set up a mechanism on the Clay County website for the public to provide input. That's what the QR code here is for, and that QR code is also on the 4 display boards. I would encourage everybody to scan that. We, as of yesterday, we have already had 96 responses on that website. So people on the website itself, people can do one of 2 things. They can either select one of 3 options that we've already prepared, or there is a 4th option, which is fill in the blank. And we have received, as of yesterday, 22 fill in the blank responses also. So out of the 96 responses, 22 have been fill in the blank. So I guess I'm asking the public, particularly anyone who lives, works, or studies in Moorhead, to do 2 things. One is to check out the website, and the second one is come to one of our 3 open houses, or more than one if you'd like. And we have a committee together. Our committee has not set a date when the public input closes. We have not determined that yet, but my hope is that we can close the public input and have a decision made on what we want to use the money for by the end of 2025, because we do need some time to implement whatever we decide on. I should also point out that of that $129,540, it's not an all or nothing thing in terms of what we use the money for. We could divide that money and use it for 2 or more purposes, so it doesn't all have to go to a single purpose. And I think with that, I'll just open it up for questions.
Commissioner Mojo.
Thank you, Patrick. I had a question. I think I was out of town on the 3rd, so I apologize if this was covered on the 3rd meeting. I have had a lot of calls from folks on this piece. This has really garnered attention in the community. So when we talk about the one-time payment, Clay County Public Health share, what was the amount of the other share and who did that go to?
So if you have the flyer in PDF form, in the bottom left corner, it says information on MPCA action. That's actually a hyperlink. Obviously, it doesn't work on a physical piece of paper, but that's actually a hyperlink. You can click on that. That will take you directly to an article on the MPCA website about the settlement.
Okay.
And I don't have the exact amount off the top of my head, but I think it was about $300,000.
Okay.
And I don't know what the MPCA did with the remainder that they did not remit to us.
So I'm on I scanned the QR code to try to go to the Clay County site that talks about it. And that hyperlink isn't on there, so that might be helpful.
Oh, yeah.
My other question is, within the purview of what's allowable expenditures, one thing that folks had come to me with is food availability during this time of unknown. Is there an ability to utilize some of these funds for food shelf donations or grants, if you will?
I think so. The state statute language that has been provided to me governing this process really doesn't specify what the county can and can't use the money for. So it appears that any reasonable public purpose is eligible.
Okay, great, thank you.
Commissioner Kravanaugh.
Yeah, just background. Can you tell me a little history background of the infraction?
So I don't know a lot of details of the infraction, but I believe that Anheuser-Busch and specifically the Budweiser plant in Moorhead was found in violation of various air quality standards, and they were fined. I don't know the exact nature of those violations. I would encourage anybody who's more curious about that to contact the MPCA.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ebinger.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the funding here, and it was penalties that resulted from excessive emissions, and the testing came out. My understanding was the funding went to Clay County. I didn't know there was a distribution of other parts of it, but it came to us for direction to the part of the community that was immediately affected, is how the language was when we first got this. We had to discuss it because it went to Clay County and not to other members of the Public Health Coalition.
Sarah, again, just coming in clutch, sending us the link. The settlement was $323,850. She's a rock star.
Yeah, just going back to Commissioner Mojo's comments and maybe what she's heard from some of the public, we're under trying times right now, and I know that when you look at some of these eligible improvements, you look at I just look at the page regarding the Red River Corridor improvements, and it talks about benches and lake, bike lane markings and things like that. Those are all interesting things that, if you have an opportunity to use funds like that, it's worthwhile. I do think I think it is in our interest to take a look at public needs under current times too, and that might be something, you know, when we just heard this morning about impacts to our food pantries and our WIC program and those types of things, and maybe a portion of that could be a temporary way to help. You know, we're talking about the state of Minnesota providing $5,000 to our local food pantry. Maybe we could look at something like that.
Sure. I would encourage any Moorhead, anyone who works, lives, or studies in Moorhead who has thoughts along those lines, please visit our website, and we have a sort of open essay option. And some people have written us 3 words. Some people have written us 2 paragraphs. Please give us your input on what you'd like the money used for, and we will. You'll notice in your agenda packet there are 4. We're going to have 4 display boards there. 3 of them are sort of prepared options. The 4th one is the fill in the blank option. And so there will also be opportunities at the open houses for people who have ideas that are not of the first 3 to provide that input as well. And we do very much care about the public input, but it is not, I think, I'll reiterate what I said a moment ago, which is that this is not on autopilot in the sense that, well, whichever option gets the most votes, that's what we're putting all the money into. So it's still within the discretion of the county how to use the money. And so if the county identifies other needs that weren't necessarily the top vote getter, it's still within the county's discretion to use the money for that purpose.
Well, from the federal standpoint, it moves down to the state and then back to the local area, which is right now causing some of these crisis situations that we're having within some of our departments. Maybe just having the federal government open back up might be a really good thing. And then we wouldn't have to deal with these temporary fixes. So, all right. Anything else for Patrick? Steve?
Mr. Chair, I just want to thank Patrick for his leadership on this issue. This is only the 2nd time it's happened in Minnesota, so he's had to do a lot of research to better understand. He also, the committee that Commissioner Mojo talked about, because of the time constraints, to keep everybody on a path moving forward is very important, and he's done a great job, so I appreciate his work.
Thank you very much.
I have one. So when does the county have access to this funds? Do we already have that?
We are already in possession of the money. We actually received the check itself on June 3rd.
Okay.
I believe that was deposited immediately. So we have the money, yes.
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the request approval for out-of-state travel for the Emergency Preparedness Manager, and we have with us Rory this morning. Good morning, Rory.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I'm here to request approval for out-of-state travel for our Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, Savanas, to attend a National Emergency Preparedness Summit in Baltimore next spring. As you see, estimated costs with airfare, all things included, about $2,500. That money is budgeted in a response and sustainability grant from the Minnesota Department of Health. And to give you a little background, our CHB sends 2 representatives each year, and we alternate which counties. Last year it was Becker and Wilkin. This year it's Otter Tail and Clay County. And as I've learned in this process, there's an expectation that those who attend take copious notes and come back and present on those. And last year it was on volunteer management, and interestingly, this Friday, Clay County is hosting a emergency preparedness volunteer management training as a result of last year's annual event. This year's more about connecting state and local authorities. And so I'm here asking for permission to use dollars that are budgeted to send Savanas to this event in the spring.
Questions?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel for the Emergency Preparedness Manager to attend the National Emergency Preparedness Summit in Baltimore from April 13th to April 16th, 2026.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebinger, second by Commissioner Krabanoff. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion?
I'm in favor of this because we're using grant dollars for this, so.
All right, seeing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Thanks, Roy.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Next, we have a request approval to appoint Laura Johnson to a third term on the Planning Commission. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Yes, at their October meeting, the Planning Commission made a unanimous recommendation to you as the board to appoint Laura Johnson to her third and final term on the Planning Commission. Laura serves as the secretary of the Planning Commission, and she's been a very solid, reliable planning commissioner for the 6 years that she's served. She's also on the Elkton Township Board, so brings a lot of the township perspective to those meetings. Any questions for me at all?
Yes, Commissioner Moschel.
No questions, but just to can attest to the work that Laura has helped contribute to on the Planning Commission. She really does her homework. She's active in kind of fielding questions from the community, and it's been really a joy to work with Laura in this capacity. If there's no further questions, I'll make a motion to reappoint.
I will second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Moschel, second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion? I just want to point out that this is a reappointment and therefore needing bioinformation. I think we talked about this last week when a previous, I think it was extension, brought forward somebody and we didn't really have any bioinformation, and I think that's really important, especially when we're doing a first term appointment, that we have information. So maybe it's just maybe something for you, Matt, to understand, because these are all term-limited positions too, right? They're three-year terms?
3 3-year terms, yes. Yep.
So when we get somebody new, we'd want to be able to have some sort of bio on them.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you to Laura for wanting to do that again. Being on the Planning Commission is a difficult job, so. Commissioner Moschel.
If I might, this is outside of this appointment per se, but maybe as a policy or just direction to our administrator that because this board has turned over, in the time that Laura has been on this board, maybe just as a standing understanding that we want to have bio information on any committee appointment, reappointment action. If it's going on the agenda, make sure that we have that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, when we have a new appointment for someone who's never been on before, they do have to fill out an application, and that's typically included in the packet for that appointment. But for appointments moving forward in the future, I can be sure to add that additional information.
Yeah. And again, I think what Commissioner Moschel is talking about here is, we do have turnover on this board as well, and so even though Laura might be familiar to some of us, maybe it wouldn't be to a newer commissioner, so that's probably a good point. So any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to skip our 9:55 break, and we're going to go right to out-of-state travel for GIS. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Our employees are valuable to us, and we invest in them to make sure that they are able to provide the best skill sets that they can to us, as well as we feel that it's a valuable thing to do for them is to help them grow in their professions, so they become much more talented at what they do. And we do. One of the things we look at is how do we best train them. And one of the opportunities that presents itself to us for our GIS coordinator specifically is the opportunity to attend the ESRI User Conference, which takes place each summer in San Diego. the attendance to the conference is included with our license agreements, and the only expense involved is our travel expenses. And we feel that this type of training is a very cost-effective way to get a lot of knowledge and skills and learn new things in a relatively cost-effective approach. So what I'm asking for today is permission to send our GIS coordinator to San Diego next summer to attend a conference. Now, this conference is every year, but we don't send one every year. We've internally decided that right now we're going to try every other year and see if that's doable, so that just because there's some expense, so I'm not going to do it always. But I think that it's worthwhile to do. If you remember last time she went, which was in summer '24, she actually presented work that we were doing here at the conference, which was pretty amazing. And we're hoping that by sending her again, we'll learn some more things and be able to better utilize the tools and resources we have on hand.
Does that fit in her calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Couple questions.
Yes, Commissioner Bear.
So you've already chose the employee that you're going to send?
Yes.
Do we have a cost estimate on airfare and lodging?
It's under $3,000. And we have that in our budget for next year.
And I appreciate you going every other year instead of going every year. I think that helps, so.
All right, any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve out-of-state travel for the GIS specialist to attend the ESRI User Conference in San Diego in July 26th.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Krabanoff, second by Commissioner Everger. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Our next item is request approval for small government enterprise agreement with ESRI.
That's right. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, this is a contract that we signed with ESRI to provide us with our software licensing for the GIS software. We have options where we could buy individual, like a desktop package or something like that. But this is where we buy a site-wide license, and it provides us the opportunity to use all the software that they have available, however we need it, at a fixed price, regardless of how many people we have using it or how much we deploy it. It's been a very effective program since it first started. We first signed on with this in 2008, and we've been renewing it every 3 years ever since. It's cost-wise, it's a good thing for us. We're able to negotiate a little bit reduced rate because it's based on population. But we actually will get since City of Moorhead also has an enterprise agreement with the ESRI, we were able to negotiate a lower level. So we actually are paying for the 25,000 population level instead of the 65,000 that our whole county would be, which is very nice to see. This has been the same contract over and over and over. This will be our 7th time signing it. I sent it to the attorneys for review, but it hasn't changed, so it's all good. The one thing we did notice is just like everything else we've been dealing with, it's a 9% increase from the last contract. So I suppose whether spread out across that'd be 3% a year. But the nice part about these 3-year contracts is once they're done, we're set. So I won't come back with a new price for 3 more years. So it locks us in. So for budgeting, it's a really effective tool.
Any questions?
I have no questions with that. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the small government enterprise agreement, ESRI.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bear, second by Commissioner Mojo. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. All right, next we have a briefing on customer service training.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I brought this one forward just mostly because I'm here today. And I said, I should tell you about this. This is not the kind of thing that would normally come before the board, and it's already happened, but I figured I should let you know that we did this. A year or so ago, we were approached I was working with this supervisors group, and I said, what kind of training do your staff need? And we're working through all the different things. And one of the things that came up, they said was, what we'd really like to see is some good old-fashioned customer service training. the training for those folks that are the frontline folks. We're talking to the people serving our customer service windows, the people that are directly working with our citizens. All those folks that come to us that don't want to come to us, those folks. So we said, that's a great idea. So we tried to figure out how we could do that. Well, we can't send those folks away for any length of time because we have to function. So what we did was we were able to create, with the help of a company that was recommended to us actually by Technology Services, they used them for their training. They were able to bring an instructor on site. We did a 4-hour class on customer service training and bring our employees in, and we would work through that. And we did it actually in 4 sessions over 2 different days so that we could get all the people through. So we ended up with 67 people signed up and went to this class. What that really represents, 67 staff from 12 different departments in 5 different buildings. And it's a huge cross-section across our county, but these are the folks, that the DMV and the social services and the landfill and all the different people that are actually working with the customers were actually able to go through this training. And one of the best things I got was I debriefed with the instructors afterwards, and one of the things the instructors told me, that's the reason I came today, was our folks know what they're doing, is what the instructors told us. We have good people. They're very passionate about their jobs, and they're doing good things. So as an organization, I think it's just important to know that we're trying to make sure that our customer service staff have the skills and resources they need, and it was nice to see that they are doing well. And I just thought I'd pass that on to you guys to know that we're doing good things.
That's good to hear. Yeah, Commissioner Ebinger.
This confirms a suspicion I had, having worked 40 years in different local government entities. And I just keep thinking, are they hiding something from me, or is it really as effective, and are they really as committed? It's just one of those things where it's great to have my suspicions concerned that people around here really care as much as it appears about the public and about giving service. And I think it shows good leadership. I think it shows a good HR system that brings people on board and gives them reasonable expectations and makes it clear what we need. This is just a good place to work. And I wished I'd worked here when I was a real employee. It would have been a great opportunity, but I just want to compliment not just our people, but the leadership that gets them there, and the fact that we provide things like this training to help them sharpen their skills. And I appreciate you bringing this information to us.
Okay. All right, anything else on that one? All right, then we'll move on to the GIS Day Celebration Announcement.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, this is probably the most exciting thing I'm here to talk about today. GIS Day is coming soon.
I can't imagine that.
It's a festivity you don't want to miss. So I just want to make sure everybody knows it's happening on Wednesday, November 19th, over at the GIS Workspace at the Government Center. Come on over. We're going to be showcasing some of the wonderful things we're doing, and we're always doing more and newer stuff. So come on by. I'll give you a cookie, and I just want to invite everyone.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. I live in a family that they kind of nerd out about maps. They love maps. And so I have had the opportunity to bring my kids to this GIS Day celebration. Although seeing the hours, I think you stayed later than after school hours for me and maybe others in the past. But it's really a cool opportunity to see the tools that we have available for folks and the work that your group does, because I'm not great with the overlays and all those pieces, but you walked through it with me, and it's just a really cool opportunity for the public to see. So thanks for having that day available for folks.
You're welcome. And yeah, our biggest goal is, what ours in our set is, we're targeting our staff, because we're trying to try to show them that we do all these things. Maybe there's things we are doing that could help you. So, yeah.
Well, we might be a little bit biased here, but we think we have the best in the state here in terms of it.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Good to see you, Mark.
No, it's not on our website. It'll be out on the Bits of Clay.
Can you share it on the social media?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Next, we have a request approval to sign an addendum to this cooperative service agreement for the Resource Recovery and Transfer Station. Steve, good afternoon.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Today's a positive day. Over the last year, we've been working with the City of Moorhead in regards to the cooperative service agreement. We've had several meetings dating back to last November. Worked with Brian in regards to the addendum. Within your packet, you have both the original contract, the amended contract, and then the addendum. The addendum was actually a request from Commissioner Campbell in showing where the original document read and what the changes were. So when the parties that are no longer working here will have the background available to them. And so the terms of the contract before you essentially stayed the same. We're looking at a 3-year contract. The addendum highlights the fact that we in the initial contract we had that City of Moorhead paid for custodial services, which we never did request funding for that, and also it did not identify that the county provides the scale house staffing that all both private and public comes through on a daily basis in utilizing the facility, and so that was captured in the addendum. Anything that has not changed to this addendum remains in full effect per the original agreement. And with that, I'd yield for any questions.
I think the only other thing that was involved with this, but it was addressed in the amendment to the original contract, and that was the going from the metered system for services to a percentage being 57% Moorhead.
Yeah.
And that was done through an amendment. And so this basically, what this addendum is it's an addendum to the original contract as it was amended. Right, Steve? Or Brian? Okay. So.
I'm gonna jump into this.
All right, there we go.
I am thrilled to see this on the agenda today. I can't underscore the immense amount of hours that went into this renegotiation, not only Clay County staff, but City of Moorhead staff, the commissioners, but also Steve Moore and Kirk Rosenberger helped kind of with the historical side of this. And I've had the opportunity to attend all 10 of the district meetings over the last 6 months throughout AMC. And one thing that continually comes to the surface with all of these meetings is how do local entities, counties and municipalities and school districts work together to offer a high level of service at the lowest cost to our residents. This project is something that really exemplifies all of those components. It's a way for us to continue to provide a high level of service with solid waste management and realize a substantial amount of savings by doing so. It's a phenomenal facility that I'm really, really proud of all of the work, but this was one of those agreements that if we were not able to find a solution, I was losing substantial sleep over because I knew the cost that our community would realize by us going separate ways. So thanks to you, Steve, to City Manager Molly, too, on kind of getting all of the parties together to finally see the light on this piece, but just thrilled that we're finally able to continue this component.
Was that a motion?
Well, I didn't know if you wanted a motion before discussion.
Oh, okay.
But, I am going to make a motion to approve this request.
Is that a motion?
I did make a motion, yep.
A motion to approve the addendum.
I'll second that.
You have a motion by Commissioner Mojo, second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion on the motion? She was right in all she said. It was a lot of work. Glad it's done. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carried. All right, next we have our 2026 budget discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any specific agenda items to bring forward to impact the levy. What I can share with you, yesterday we did meet with Troy Amundson, Lori Johnson, Brandon and Tristan from the Auditor Treasurer's Office in starting the review process of revenues for the detox facility in hopes that we'll have some additional information about the potential of higher revenues that could maybe impact Quinn's social service funding mechanism, where funding comes for the detox. And so we had a good discussion yesterday, and Lori is going to be reviewing with Brandon some additional information, and we're going to schedule another meeting, and we'll see if there's some adjustments that can be made. I would note that Troy did report yesterday that for the first time, all 32 beds were filled on Monday morning. So.
While we're on the topic of the budget, I was going to raise this issue in my committee reports regarding the PIC committee meeting. And for the second time in our PIC committee meeting, we've had some discussions about a early retirement incentive program. This was something that we did, I think it goes back to, 2010, I think, when we last did it. And we've had 2 rounds of meetings in PIC on this, some really good discussions, and we think we have some good ideas in mind about what could be done. I don't want to get in the weeds on it today too much, but I think it's, at this point, we're getting close to bringing something before the board. And I guess because we're doing this, we just wanted to make it aware that for anybody who might be considering retiring now, to understand that we might be coming forward with some, and we'd hate to see somebody put in a retirement notice and find out 2 weeks later that there's some sort of incentive that they would not qualify. So in fairness to anybody who might be, I think we need to do this. I think it's really good. I think there's some potential that it could really help not only our 2025, certainly our 2026 budget. And, but I think the details of that, and through our PIC committee meeting, we asked Steve and Darren to maybe, or to present what we're considering to the management committee as a heads up. And so I believe you're doing that, Steve, on the 12th.
12th, yeah.
So they'll give them some of what we're talking about here, and then I think the plan would be for us to talk about it as a board on the 18th of November. So just from a timing standpoint, again, I don't want to get too far into it until Steve's had a chance to talk with management. Mm-hmm. And once that's done, we'll have a PIC meeting on the 18th. I guess I should, no, I was hoping then that, because we did say it would go back to PIC, so we might have to schedule another PIC meeting after the 12th, but before the 18th. And then we'll have something, hopefully for the full board to discuss on the 18th, and it would allow us, certainly, if we're not ready that week, we can still move forward. But there is certainly with this program, there is the potential for some budget savings in 2026. So I think it'll be a good discussion. And I think really what this boils down to is I think anybody who might be considering retiring in the next 18 months might have an interest in this. So. All right, and I guess I just wanted to bring that part forward as a budget item discussion because it could have an impact on what we want to accomplish in 2026.
I have one comment.
Yes.
Steve, could you let the public know where we're sitting at down right now with the budget?
Right now, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Bear, we're still sitting at that 4.93%. Where we've had some discussions with Quinn and also with Public Health about this is the time of the year where they start getting their actual grant dollars, and so we may see some minor adjustments coming up, but that we're still at that same number at this point.
So if I can, in regards to part of what Commissioner Bear just asked, so like just this morning, we had two, we've refilled two positions, and it showed on there the savings of those positions. We have not incorporated that into our preliminary budget numbers.
That's correct. With the board's action today, you can talk with Lori and we can make those adjustments.
'Cause I mean, between the two of them, I think that's like $30,000. But I do want to make note that Quinn did warn that there might be some sort of additional counter portion to that one that was.
Yeah, he shared that there was some licensing fees that they were not made aware of, that there's been some adjustments to eligibility based on the requirements for the licensing, and so.
But I think those things, certainly, every $250,000 we save can be 0.5% on that levy.
Correct.
All right. Anything else on the budget today? Do any other board members have anything? Okay. Commissioner Ebinger.
Just an update on the library issue. As you recall, we had approved half of the requested increase, and I've come to the board asking that we look at meeting the requested increase. I spoke to a couple of our Becker County colleagues who are also grappling right now with the contract. They have not come to a decision on it. They will pay some, they've already decided they'll pay some of the increase, maybe not all of it. But just to bring the commission up to speed, there's going to be a total overhaul and a re-evaluation of the funding mechanism for all the partners with Lake Agassiz. That's going to take place next year. I have no idea what the impact would be to costs. I suspect there's going to be a big shift from what Becker County's paying, possibly more of it towards Detroit Lakes, but, that remains to be seen. But, I would just reiterate, I think to go with the request at the amount that they've asked would be prudent for us at this time. It's going to have to come from somewhere, and what it'll be is, depending on the degree of us coming in under what they've asked, there's going to have to be hours cut back in the rural libraries. This would not impact on Moorhead. Moorhead is a separate signatory than us, or than Clay County. So just to give you an update on that, I may have some specifics. They want to work with it. They don't want to cut anybody's hours. And our libraries here in Clay County, I think they want to keep the hours they've got. So I'll have probably an update within a week or two, but they're trying to mash that out. I think the request is still prudent.
That dollar amount, again, going from 5%, is it like $5,000? 15,000? Oh, yeah, it's 15,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you're gonna, when you do that, then you would also, the alternative to that would be the loss in hours of operation, right? That's how they would
Yes.
compensate for that, so, and that's what you're gonna provide us with, those details? So
I'll get a detailed, they wanted to sit down and look at it. Again, with 3 libraries to look at, and one of them is very low on hours. I don't know how you can cut it back further. I want to hear what they've got to say before I speculate on what they do.
Okay. Right.
And we're patching this together to get it through one more year, then we'll have a total overhaul on how this is determined. I do understand Becker County's concerns. It really is somewhat disproportionate, but that's a flaw in the funding formula that they came up with 30 years ago, and that's something we'll address.
All right. Steve, anything else on the budget?
Nothing else, Mr. Chair.
All right, and we'll move into our committee reports. Ezra, I think I started with you last time, or am I starting with you this time? All right, Ezra.
So we'll start with last Friday, October 31st, because we were pretty much all down except Mrs. Mojo was not at this report convention, but the rest of us were. Down at the Otter Tail, Fergus Falls, where we had a very good AMC meeting. They gave a lot of good presenters there. On the main thing, what I took out of that is we voted on our main priorities for AMC.
Ezra, is your mic on?
I will start over. So October 31st, I was down at Fergus Falls with the AMC District 4 meeting, where most of us all attended. The main thing I took out of that was we had to prioritize our concerns for AMC, and we came up with the top 5 for the legislative priority list, and technology modernization was our number 1 that came out of that group, and that's what we discussed with Quinn today about on how that could make good changes in his department. The number 2 was mental health, number 3 was solid waste, number 4 was bonding for roads and bridges, and number 5 was the emergency response system. We also had a good update there on the executive committee report and an update on the executive director's report. So it was a very good turnout, I think, overall. Everybody was there, I believe, from at least one member from every county was there. I don't think there was anybody missing. So that's that report. And then also I received an email from Glendon Township discussing the casino in their township that's looking at coming there, and they want to be part of the dialogue there. They have been part of some of the dialogue, but I also would like to be part of more of that dialogue. So if myself and Commissioner Campbell sit on that committee, I would just like to make sure that staff knows we would like to be on those phone calls, if they're weekly phone calls with the rest of that committee. But if we could be on those with Glendon Township, that would be very much appreciated. So if we can start relaying that information to us. So even if there's not much that happens on those phone calls, we'd like to be part of those phone calls. And that is all I have for committee reports, Mr. Chair.
Right, just on that, so Steve, you can notify or make sure everybody's notified about that. Okay. All right, Commissioner Abinger.
Thank you. Last week on Wednesday, had the PIC committee, which we've addressed the request from social services. We will get an update on the early retirement incentive program. We also looked at a draft of Board of Commissioners operating guideline that was reviewed. Later that day, Commissioner Campbell and I both attended the Red River Regional Dispatch Center Board of Authority. We had a motion to approve the amended job description, modifying titled to Radio and Systems Coordinator, for Byron Zastapil, who is a whiz at operating our equipment, keeping things up and running, and they extended his responsibilities to cover the systems that are currently coming into Next Generation 911. Reviewed the budget and had a really good Red River Dispatch Center faculty update, or facility update. We are about $1.47 million under budget, and for all intent purposes, there's still some work to be done, but the facility is complete. Following the board meeting, we had a ribbon cutting, and we had an opportunity to walk around and get a look at the new facility. It is stellar. It's kind of sparse. It's very much designed to keep the employees who are working 10 to 12-hour shifts comfortable and alert, give them places to get away from the console and clear their minds after a traumatic or a difficult situation. We've got more consoles on the floor, I believe 12, was it not? Yes, 12, which is
And room for 2 more.
and room for 2 more. Right now, they're crowding 8, and they're cheek to jowl. This is spread out. It's got light that keeps people alert and comfortable. It's got an ability to have additional heat or cooling at each station for people who have different requirements in that area. It's just a really neat, modern facility that's going to serve the community well. It's also resistant to tornadoes. It's got a great security component to it, which of course nobody talks about, but our employees are going to be safe. It's just, this has been something I've wanted to see happen long ago. While I was chief of police, it became apparent that the facility we had was not adequate, and it's been a long haul for this, and I'm very gratified that it got done. And the staff out there and the leadership of the RRDC is going to make this continue to move forward as a blue ribbon, top shelf operation. On Friday, I attended the AMC Fall District 4 meeting, which has been covered. I will reiterate something we've already said and was put as a priority in District 4. We really need to get a 20th century or 21st century system for our social services. And it's been talked about, and I even think there's partial funding that's still in reserve that's been there for years. This is something the legislature is going to have to take action on. And I think it's something that I'm glad that we're taking the lead on getting word to them that it needs to be done. Yesterday, I attended virtually the Greater Fargo-Moorhead EDC Executive Board meeting. There was a lot of discussion on Innovate 28, and I did, at that point, discuss with the board the fact that Clay County is not funding that initiative, and that we are going to continue to fund at the appropriate level the Chamber of Commerce and the EDC. But there was a lot of talk of the allocation between 2 agencies and how that was to be distributed, and I made it clear that any funding that we provide, we'll make the allocation and pay the source that we get the benefits from. I think that's justified by some of the other goals we put for some of the funding on that, and it's also in recognition, I think, of the good work the Chamber has done. And that completes my report.
Thank you. Just one note. So when we had the discussion on the confusion on that chamber thing, Steve, the number that you've been giving us, that 4.92, did that include bumping that chamber back up to 100?
I did, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, Commissioner Krabanoff.
Mr. Chair, last Wednesday, Commissioner Mojo and I had our weekly meet with our lobbyists concerning PTRF and the non-secure facility. We met with Haley Cobb, spoke a little about bringing information toward the governor advisors, and then also about our upcoming bonding tour event that's coming on November 13th. And Haley hopes to be with us. On Friday, I was also with at the District 4 meeting. Ezra gave a very good report on that one. I'll just add one little thing. Our executive director brought up the use of ChatGPT and all the, I guess, how it can help us in so many ways, you know, to bring forward narratives, and it isn't perfect, but at least it saves a lot of time. Then yesterday I had my monthly Planning Commission meeting with the City of Moorhead. 2 things were brought forward. There is a ammonia storage facility that we have down by M-State along the tracks there. They receive ammonia in 90,000 gallon containers that are temporarily stored on the track. And what they were getting approval for from the city of Moorhead, which they were strongly in favor of, was the CUP for a new storage facility that's enclosed for up to 30,000 gallons. And it's the whole part of it is to get these more vulnerable places, you know, that are stored on the track, better security and more efficiency for those for that process on delivery. Also, there were text amendment changes made relating to cannabis uses and regulations and where they would be. The two areas that were being talked about were testing facilities. It's still kind of up in the air how many the state's going to put out there, but they want to be in place with their zoning so it can place those testing facilities in appropriate places, which now is light industrial and heavy industrial, but they're going to look at some commercial places also. Then the second part of it was a text amendment change that there are areas where there are what we'd call shop condos. I think most of us are aware of that. And it's making the text amendment change so that if someone were to buy one for the use of marijuana, whether it's micro, meso, cultivation, retail, and or wholesale, that those businesses, once one would be in a building, the rest of the building would have to be for some sort of cannabis use. And so anyway, and both those passed. And part about the containment had a lot to do with odor and keeping those odors combined in one building rather than interrupting the operation of someone else in another building. So anyway, that's my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Mojo.
Thank you. Last week, I attended the Red River Regional Dispatch ribbon cutting. Such a fantastic facility. I know a lot of work from county staff, the sheriff's department as well went into the vision in that. So thank you for the work of the folks that did that. I think the most important piece that I took away from there is we've heard from our smaller cities on their concerns with representation in that piece, and to have a Minnesota specifically designated consul is such a great development out of that. Really hopeful that that will put those concerns at ease there. Glad to have representation. The next day, I attended the Clay County Legislative Strategy meeting as reported by Commissioner Krabenoft. Good dialogue there in preparation for the Senate bonding tour. All of you are welcome to do that, to participate with that. I think it's really powerful to have as many commissioners present as possible that day. I attended a MetroCog review with the director. As chair, we have some HR issues that we're working through for next week. I participated in a chamber legislative call with Cale Dunwoody on some of the priorities and wordage on the document that will go out. That chamber, I think next week or the week after, will officially vote on what the policy pieces are. And I did have the opportunity yesterday to travel to District 10 to hear from the Metro on their AMC platforms and wishes. After attending almost all of the 9 out of the 10 of the district meetings in the last 6 months, I will tell you that the priorities don't change much from rural Minnesota counties to the Metro. Really interesting to see that thread of solidarity with our concerns. What you reported on is the same things they voted on as priorities, which I think helps our one voice conversation as we approach the legislature. I think it's important to note today is the kickoff to the Operation Greenlight, the next until the 11th. Make sure and put a green light out on your porch to show solidarity with veterans during this time. Really appreciate the work that our County Veterans Office does to give a voice to our veterans locally. That concludes my reports.
Thank you. All right, on October 28th, we had the Personnel Issues Committee. We dealt with two of the issues from Social Services this morning. I did give an update on the early retirement incentive program that we're looking at. More to come on that. And then I believe you all got a draft of an operation guidelines for commissioners that Administrator Larson sent to you, and I think that'll be coming forward for discussion. I don't know, is it next week or 2 weeks from now? 2 weeks from now. That same day, then we also had the River Dispatch meeting. Commissioner Ebinger talked about that. One of the other things, when we talked about the Council for Minnesota, there's also now one council for fire. They did all the different fire departments requested that they have, so anything that's fire related will also have its own council. Whether you're Morehead Fire Department, Fargo Fire Department, any fire department will probably go through that council, and that's something that the fire departments had recommended. Another thing that they talked about is that ambulances, the Sanford ambulances now are going to be carrying blood on board on their ambulances, so in the event that something is needed right on site, there's going to be something that they're going to have that they didn't have before, the ability to assist in the event of blood loss. The turnover of the building is scheduled for November 10th, which is just a week from today, I think it is, a week from yesterday. And they're at 34 of 38 FTEs. They have 9 shift supervisors, and they're able to reduce their overtime to a minimum right now, which is all good news. November, they will be installing the vendor equipment, and on December 4th, the 911 lines will be up and running. And so I would assume a short time after that, the facility will be operational. And I do have just a slight difference in the number of savings that Commissioner Ebbering, I believe he said 1.47 million, and my numbers were 1.49 million, so I'll take my numbers. That's savings now. So. But anyway, it's really, it's good to see that that project is coming in well under budget in terms of the capital improvement. I also then on the 31st, I attended the District 4 meeting. I think the biggest thing I got out of that was the discussion on the archaic software that we're having all of our social services operate with. And when you talk about the inability to be more efficient, that's a big holdup. And what I did hear them talk about was looking at both a short-term fix to try to get something going that's better in the short term, with the idea that the permanent fix is going to take, and when I started hearing 3 to 5 years, that's a long time. So hopefully we can come up with something in a short term that's better. We did receive numbers on preliminary levies from all counties. I'll save those numbers for later when we talk about doing our final levy. I did want to also mention that Commissioner Mojo has, as she mentioned, she's been to 9 of the 10 district meetings in Clay County, and she is running for second vice president. And I think that's something that it should be encouraging to those of us in Clay County. Having her put in that position really, I think, really elevates our positions both at the AMC and the state level. So thank you to Commissioner Mojo for willing to put her name on the line there, and we wish her success. Yeah, that is voted on in December at the annual meeting. So with that, I have, the other thing I wanted to just note, we have the Friday meetings with the Kale and Jason Benson. We have updated meetings on strategic planning for legislation, how we're going to act legislatively. And one of the things that we have, I don't believe we've included our lobbyist in those. And I was going to kind of leave it up to you two to talk about that, and maybe talk about that with Kale and Jason, and maybe, because I know that Moorhead's on there, and I believe Moorhead has their lobbyist on those calls.
So I did talk to Kale about this because we have the same lobbyist as the chamber. And so he is working through to see if that makes sense, but they are sending them all of the information as well on that piece. But very good point.
Okay.
I believe they're trying to, for the bonding tour, because there is a water tour as well before. So I think Winthrop is trying to make it there in person for both of those, but good point.
All right. That concludes my report. Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last Tuesday, I participated in PIC, which has been well covered. Also was able to go to the ribbon cutting of the dispatch center again, thanks to the board's leadership on being an important part of that expansion. It's a great facility and well needed. On the 30th, I met with Anna and Jesse on a series of HR issues. On the 31st, participated in the AMC district meeting, which has been well covered. That afternoon, worked with Anna and continued to review applications for the public health director. We're looking to have interviews, screening interviews next Monday, one on Friday and then the remainder on Friday or Monday, and then we'll be bringing candidates for the full boards for their consideration. Yesterday, worked a considerable amount on the truth and taxation presentation coming up in December. Also, as I mentioned earlier, met with Lori, Brandon, Tristan, and Troy in regards to the detox revenues. We'll continue to look at those as we move forward. Yesterday afternoon, met with Darren and Anna in regards to union negotiations and some other HR issues. And just a reminder for our citizens, next Tuesday, there will be no board meeting in observation of Veterans Day, as our county will be closed. Our next meeting is November 18th. That concludes my report.
All right, and Steve, if I can, just and Darren, and maybe Anna's not here, but again, if we can schedule another PIC meeting after the 12th, but before the 18th on the issue that we talked about this morning. All right, Brian, do you have anything for us this morning? All right, Darren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was also at the PIC meeting on Tuesday, the 28th of October. We did have a brief discussion on changes coming to the paid leave and that running concurrently with the parental leave and FMLA. Also on the leave measuring period, we'll be changing that. All of that information went out in an email from Anna, so if anybody has any questions on that, you should have an email outlining some of those changes. On Wednesday, the 29th, I had the deputy negotiations. On Thursday, I was off. On Friday, I was celebrating 38 years of wedded bliss or something like that. And on November 3rd, yesterday, we had prep for negotiations with the lieutenants and sergeants, and then also had the meeting with Anna and Steve yesterday afternoon. So that concludes my report.
Congratulations on your anniversary, too.
My wedded bliss.
And your divorce.
Yeah, it was great.
All All right, Sarah, anything for us this morning? All right, we're all scheduled for our December conference, right? All right, very good. All right, with that, we will
Mr.
stand
Chair,
adjourned.
I have one more announcement. Sorry about this. I missed this. Open enrollment starts tomorrow for everybody. Information has been sent out. Starts tomorrow, runs through the 19th. We do have new providers and new ancillary benefit providers, so everybody who is benefit eligible must sign up. It is all online, and if you have any questions or anything, give Anna or Jesse a call. Thank you.
All right, with that, we are adjourned.